Hey guys, welcome back to Something Social Podcast. We're your hosts, the James Curls.
I'm Mo.
And I'm Nay.
And we hope you're ready to join our conversations about dating, relationships, love, and just general adulting.
For more content, event updates, or to contact us, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the James Curls.
And our podcast Instagram at Something Social JC.
Enjoy.
Bye.
We just start out that. Hey y'all, we just realized that y'all might know who is who. So I'm Nay.
And I'm Mo.
Nice to meet you. All right. So
welcome back.
Today we are going to talk about boundaries, which we, in conversation talking about it, realized that ours are
non-existent.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
Mm-hmm. Not there.
I definitely don't set boundaries. And I have recently realized how bad and out of hand it's gotten.
Yes.
So I think that this is perfectly timed. I think we had an idea to talk about this a while ago. And then we just never did it, but it just became more relevant recently. So those are my favorite kind of episodes where it's like, oh, this is relevant. While it's fresh, while it's
then
hot.
we try to pause the conversation. We need to put that on the podcast. And it's but we have to talk about this right now.
We have to talk about this. And then we have to recreate the conversation.
Right.
So stay tuned for us with just candid conversations. Because the problem is most of our conversations that are candid, we look like.
Yeah, they won't be on YouTube.
Not even presentable.
At all.
Yeah, we'll just turn those into podcasts. Anyway.
Or you just, podcast. Take me as I am.
No, it's really bad.
It's okay.
It'd be really, really bad.
You can't be on all the time. We're barely on now.
I know, but it's really, anyway, it's really bad.
It's okay. Natural hair, twist, dookie twist, whatever it is, just take it.
I'm having my pimple patches on. I need one right here. I can't, my face is backwards on this thing. Anyway, I can't deal. So anyway, we're talking about boundaries and how we have none. And we hope that y'all have some, but in case you don't, we have some information to share with you today.
I feel like most people that I know do have a boundary.
It's just you.
Well, not necessarily with me, because only certain people need boundaries with me. But yeah, I feel like most people I know have boundaries that they utilize.
Really?
I mean, we all have them. We just ignore them.
Yeah, because we know when somebody
drawn them with invisible ink.
When somebody crosses the boundary, then we be like, I ain't like that, but
yeah, invisible line. Not good.
It depends on who it is. Because sometimes I'll be like, I didn't like that.
Yeah, that's true.
It really just depends on who it is. Or this is making
this is what it is. The more you like them, the thinner that line is.
Yeah.
Because if it's somebody you don't really care about their emotions or their feelings, you just
yeah, exactly. I'd be
don't ever do that again and don't ever call me again. Bye.
Boom. So anyway, your boundaries can create toxic situations if you're not aware.
Yes.
I'm well aware. So we need to, our goal for 2021B,
which we're already in.
We've started July 1st was the first of the year, half year. So I already failed because
I haven't yet.
When did my situation happen? July 2nd. I was like, oh, okay. We're trying to create healthy environments for ourselves. It's not even just about boundaries. It's about staying healthy up here and not letting people run you ragged. Because they'll do that.
They will.
If you let them.
They sure will.
And that is a toxic relationship. And so we want to avoid that. So as Daddy always said, don't draw lines in invisible ink. That's what our daddy taught us. He literally said this when we were planning out this podcast.
He draws lines in permanent marker.
His lines are in concrete.
Yeah, maybe.
And it's actually unhealthy. It's unacceptable. So, yeah, we need to take a page.
With some people,
out of his book.
Necessary, but
yeah, but then because I was gonna say sometimes you don't need to draw. So I guess we can just kind of segue into that then with family. Sometimes with family, it's hard to draw a permanent boundary line, because it's like, for example, my daddy's boundary lines, he'd be like, forever you done, you dead. You dead to me. Forever. And it's like, okay, well, maybe they don't need to be dead to you, but maybe you just don't need to be around them frequently.
Right.
Or trust them with certain pieces of information.
Right.
You know, like, there's got to be you can't draw forever boundary.
He doesn't really have a balance
your
with
brother, with your child, with your wife, with your sister, with your mother. You can't do stuff like that. I mean, you can. He do.
Yeah.
He do.
He do. And honestly, I think depending on the situation, some people need that.
Yeah. But somebody messes up with him and he'd be like, it's one mess up and he'd be like,
because he doesn't want to risk it. But I think that whatever it does is supposed to protect your space and your energy, right? But I think some people that draw those permanent boundaries, it affects them in an unhealthy way.
Yes.
Because you draw a boundary with, let's say you draw a boundary with your parent. It can affect you in an unhealthy way because you don't really want that permanent boundary.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking permanent boundaries here, not just a boundary like you can't come to my house anymore or like you can't babysit my kids because you dropped them, like something like that. But I'm just saying, like, if it's like a permanent boundary, you don't want it to affect you mentally either. Like you want to make sure that it's something that is going to create positive and good space for yourself.
Yeah. I agree. There comes a point where the boundary setting gets unhealthy. So we just need to make sure we don't cross that threshold because then you're just seesawing, you're Charlie Browning from one unhealthy thing to another. So we need to find a balance. But anyways, family can be toxic. And there are times where you need to find that line with those toxic people. I do know someone who would just be like, no, my family, I don't really get along with like the culture behind her family. She's like, I don't really agree with how they like, you know, talk and act and treat people and stuff like that. And she's like, she's like, they abuse, like do substance abuse and whatever, like alcohol and stuff like that. And she's just like, I don't want that kind of energy around me. So hey, how you doing? But I'm not close with people that I know are like feeding into that lifestyle. And she's like, I don't care who you are, but these people happen to be relatives. And it's just, it's not working for me. And I'm like, well, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
I mean, there's a lot of ways that are like necessary boundaries that you need with your family. Because like, for instance, like if you're dating someone, like when we were on our live recently, somebody asked us if we think that we impede on each other's relationships. Like if I'm dating someone, do I think that her opinion or her, or that she says things or does things that will affect my relationship? And really and truly, I think everybody probably has somebody that you value their opinion to the point of like, all right, well, maybe, you know, but I don't think that it affects the way that
like the ultimate decision is still not necessarily based on anybody else.
Yeah. And my response to that was based on our track record. It doesn't matter. Like
that was a good question though. That was a really good question because I had to stop and think for a second. And I was like, let me assess the situation before I answer that. Somebody asked us that on live and I didn't have time to like.
Yeah. But it makes you think like, you know, you want to be a little bit more conscious about things that you say, whether it's to somebody about your relationship or to somebody about their relationship. Like you don't want it to just be like,
okay, well, we just bounced around a little bit.
Peace out.
But I found a term called enmeshed family. And it says that it is family with blurred boundaries preventing a healthy level of independence and autonomy. I feel like to some degree, I have that dynamic with my parents. Not by choice. They just, and I always say I think it's because I didn't go away to college that they feel like I'm still 20 years old or 18 or something like that. And I'm starting to establish healthier boundaries. I remember when I really started putting my foot down, I had an instance where I kind of made mommy cry a little bit. And I was like, but I couldn't console her in a way that was healthy for me. Because if I consoled her, it reinforced why she was crying. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, I'm standing firm on this. Like, get out of my business, for real. And I felt really bad, but it had to be done because it was getting to the point where I was like, I'm an adult and I know that that makes you sad, but I'm literally 30,000 years old and I'm done. We're done here.
I don't really have the same issue because they don't bother me like that.
Right, they don't.
I don't know if they don't care or what. But
no. I think it's honestly, I think it's because you went away to college, so they're like, she's a little more independent. She has a little more life skills. This one, we gotta keep our eye on her. She'll like cut herself with a butter knife.
That's why you're the baby.
Listen,
and you're not a parent, so you don't know how.
I don't know how that works, but like even when I'm out like with my man for the weekend, I still get a text. Like, Daddy be texting me like, are you okay?
What is better, like, them not caring if you're in a ditch or them making sure you're not in the ditch?
They're still tracking you. Or they'll ask me about you, but they'll ask me about me. And I'm like, ask Nay. Leave me alone.
They do sometimes. They're like, where's Andy? Like, I don't know.
It's to the point where they're like, you don't even know what you're doing about anything. So please consult with us next time before you make decisions. And I'm just kind of like, I mean, they didn't say those words, but I feel like they might as well just say them. And it's unhealthy. And so I've been putting my foot down with a lot of stuff. I'm like, it ain't none of your business. Just like I went out for my birthday, 2019, I went out with my, at the time, man. He was taking me out to a nice little Greek restaurant for my birthday. And I had on this little number.
Look, freakum dress, you know, that's serious.
Number. And so I have no bra on. And Mama just felt, it got really like dark and bright. Oh my God.
It's supposed to be going to the beach, but whatever.
Yeah, and I had on a little dress and I had no bra on, and Mama just stopped me and was like, where are you going? That's one thing that I can't. Where are you going? Okay, well, I'm going here. Oh, with who? Okay, I'm going here with this person. All right, cool. And I tell her just because I, feel like it, not because it's any of her business. If I don't feel like telling her, I'll be like, back off me, Slim. But I humored her, and then she was like, okay, but you gonna go like that, though?
She know what you about.
But even when I don't do that, even when I have like regular clothes on and she just don't like my outfit or she don't like my hair, she's like, that's how you're gonna do that? And I'm like, well, obviously
this is another thing with older parents. They're like stuck in their ways. Like, I don't know how else to say it. It's just like nothing is acceptable in 2021. So
yeah, and she's just like, you just look like trash. And I was like,
she said that? No, she didn't.
She said you look trashy. She was like, that kind of looks a little trashy.
Response.
And I was like, and I left, and she knew that I was angry with her. I don't remember what I said to her, but she knew whatever it was. She knew I was angry with her. I didn't talk to her the entire weekend because she was texting. And then when I came back, she was just like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. And I was like, I know, but like, you can't just be saying stuff out the side of your neck. And then she was like, but you look like trashy there in that dress. I mean, I just didn't know I didn't know what else to say. I was like, you're not sorry. Goodbye. And so
where was that, in college?
I left her on red. No, that was 2019. You were in your room down the hall. Enough is enough. Anyways, moral of the story is,
Lord.
I read somewhere, and I don't know how true this is, but I read somewhere like a meme that was saying basically unhealthy boundaries as you were growing up, because back in the day, Mama ain't tolerate no no's, and it wasn't just ours, it was all of y'all's. You couldn't tell Mama no.
Yeah.
Unhealthy, like
any adult.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. You basically have to do everything that any adult wants you to do.
Yeah.
Or else you're going to get beat by all the adults. And with that, we end up moving into adulthood with unhealthy boundaries or boundary issues. And that's some food for thought.
Like unable to say no. That makes sense. And like, and there was a meme that was talking about letting your children tell you no, or showing them that you're a human, basically, like that you make mistakes, admitting when you're wrong and stuff like that. Because kids need to see that too. Like, they think that adults can do no wrong. Like, they think we're perfect people, but
and then the adults try to play it off like, oh, I was wrong, but
they would never tell the kid or explain to the kid. Like, so that in turn creates healthy boundaries when you are letting them see that you're wrong at times. You're not a perfect person just because you're a grown up.
I know. It's like, oh my God, y'all, the kids these days think we're the grown-ups.
Yeah, we the grown-ups, for sure.
That's frightening.
I know.
A friend of mine, she's very big on like boundaries with her child or her children. And she was just like, baby, if you don't want to hug them, don't hug them. If you want to hug me, don't hug me.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do, what you feel is right for you in this time.
Right. Of course, with correcting them when they're wrong, but
yeah, I mean, there's a limit.
Forcing them to.
It's like, go on and give us some sugar now.
Yeah, when you think about it, that makes no sense.
Leave wet, sloppy kisses on my face. I don't want her touching me.
Now that we think, it just makes no sense why anybody had to endure that.
I don't know.
Makes no sense.
Anyway,
but it's just the way it was.
So that's one type of
freaking
I like that. You live and you learn, and then you unlearn.
I have a book that I'm reading.
Oh my God, I love it.
I'm not reading it yet, but Humble the Poet.
What's she like?
Called Unlearning. I have it I have 1,000 books on my audiobooks. I haven't gotten to yet.
Wow. I know. Summer's almost over.
I know. Well, I can read them in the car.
True. So that's one type of boundary. Or that's one type of situation where you can start with your boundaries. And I think that's a healthy place to start because it probably started because of them. Hey.
I think I'm pretty okay with family boundaries though. Like there's not many family members that I need to set, like, I never want to see you again. But I think my boundaries with my family is pretty healthy.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, parents, I still can't tell them no. But
unhealthy adult boundaries.
For the most part.
I don't think my boundaries are I feel okay about most of the boundaries that I have. I'm like 95% okay with the boundaries of my family because nobody really crosses them.
We don't have people that
only that one. and then the parents who don't cross her boundaries, but they cross mine. Boundaries in romantic relationships, I definitely suck at.
Yeah, me too. That's why I knew this was coming up. That's why I needed to clarify that I do have some boundaries.
Because for the rest of this podcast, the boundaries is trash.
Yeah, I have to admit that my boundaries with relationships is not great.
Yeah.
Even as far as like cutting people off. Like, did you see the meme that was like, I'm always here for you if you need me, even though we're broken up? And somebody's like, no, don't text me, don't call me.
That's legit me. I'd be like,
me too.
I just want to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
And they're like,
meanwhile, their boundaries are set.
Goodbye, going downstairs.
Their boundaries are set and you're done. You're dead to them.
And the funny thing is, these people who set these boundaries aren't even thinking of it in terms of boundaries. They're just like, bye.
Yeah, like I'm done with
They don't even consciously say.
Maybe because men can just easily be done also. I mean, if we were dating women, that would probably be different.
Oh God, that'd be hot mess. No, I'm not here for you. Delete my number. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, drawing boundaries with, okay, so if you're in a relationship, you need to draw boundaries with people that you communicate outside of your relationship with. So not just like family members and stuff like that, but people you used to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Or even keeping your friends on a short, leash with that. But like exes and stuff like that, obviously you're going to have a conversation with your partner and be like, this is what works for me. This is what doesn't work for me. I
I was listening to another podcast and they were talking about how they deal with their issues, because typically if there's something going wrong in your relationship, the first thing you do is like probably call somebody, like your friend or your whatever, like especially if it's a heated moment, like if you're mad at that person. If it's a conversation, that's different. But if you're like, vent. You need to vent
to the person.
So you're venting to somebody else about who knows what you're saying in that moment. Anything. I hate him, blah, blah, blah. Never mind, he texts. Because that's always what it is.
And
but
overshare.
You're oversharing too much. You're giving too much information. So they were saying that they write it down, they put it like somewhere, like in a box or something, and then they talk about it later when they're cooled down, instead of going to vent to their friends all the time, because they, I guess, realized that was causing a rift in their relationship, which is a good idea. Like, you can't really talk to somebody about what you're angry about when you're angry. So it makes sense to like wait until it calms down and then talk to them about it, instead of talking to friends and family, because your friends gonna be like, girl, leave him, and your sister gonna be like, girl, bye, he's done, he's dead forever,
she's dead. Not lying.
Your mama gonna tell you he's dead to me. Like, it's just, so you want to make sure that you are communicating with your partner more than your friends about your relationship.
I agree. I wholeheartedly
and definitely
agree.
Don't call your exes. Definitely no.
But even like on social media and stuff like that, like, perfect example, freaking Khloe Kardashian and Lamar, and then here come Tristan. Well, I don't know, both of them might be exes at this point. I don't know what her situation is, but all I know is that was funny because he gonna comment something, and you sitting here thinking like, what made him so comfortable to just like openly comment?
He's like, that's mine. Get out of here. But is it? Who knows? They both need to be blocked off of her page.
Yeah. Like,
but I'm coming from somebody that has never blocked anybody.
I don't block people.
Ever.
I don't block numbers. I like to see the call come through.
It's gonna, iPhone gonna tell you maybe anyway. Block the number if you want to. It's gonna tell you exactly who it is.
Really?
If you had them saved in there before, it's gonna be like, this may be John Smith.
It doesn't come through if you block them. That's if you change
the name. But they can't text you or anything?
If you block
them? They can text you. Oh. No, I wouldn't know because I don't block people. I need to, but I don't.
You know what? I lie. I did block somebody one time, and his voicemail came through, but it went to like deleted messages or something. And he was like, "Hey, I know I haven't been, in touch for a while, but I was in jail." And I was like, "Oh, click."
They gonna cash out you.
I'm really serious.
Here's $20. Call me.
My God.
Or send a request.
I had an ex do that recently. He was like, lunch is on me, and just cash after me money. I was like,
thanks, bye.
Yeah. Boundary. Legit. I was like,
she didn't care about him because he is probably gone.
He's definitely
gone. Funny.
I was like, well, thank you. That was thoughtful. Anyway. So you still need, whether or not you're in a relationship, you need boundaries with your exes.
Right.
And I never, ever had boundaries with my exes. I have always been like, went from ex to friend.
Yeah.
For like an extended amount of time, even if we're not.
And when I used to talk to people about like, can men and women be like platonic friends? I used to say like, no, because I always thought about my male friends, and I'm like, my male friends, some of them are people that I dealt with, or some of them are people that I dated, or like, I'm like, no, you can't just be friends, because there's always that little swinging door, just waiting for somebody to walk through.
Yeah, and even just platonic friends, there's always one. There's always one on either side. It's like,
yeah,
am I the one and I'm being friend zoned? Or are you the one and I put you in the friend zone? There's always
those one. Are okay though.
Those are okay because you've
never crossed that line. That's a boundary.
A lot of my guy friends were also my exes, and that's a problem. And now none of them are, and it's beautiful. I'm thriving.
Right. Yeah.
I'm thriving. I didn't even know I wasn't thriving. Before. What? I thought, I was like, oh yeah, I have such a sweet relationship with these men.
I don't.
Mm-hmm. Half of my exes in relationships now. So,
but I will say, I don't know who set that boundary.
On my behalf?
Mine too. Uh-huh. Like, just not talking to them anymore. It was just like both of us were like, never again.
Well, one of mine was a Trump supporter, so that one was a firm boundary. I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and assert this one. I know when to fold them. That was just one though. I don't know what happened to the other ones that they just fell off. And
I mean, I guess it could be a boundary that you have too, because you stopped communicating with them. It's not like you're reaching out and they're ignoring you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just kind of fell off. To everybody.
Yeah.
I used to be close with another
That's
one.
That's honestly the most peaceful way.
And I'm like, okay, well, that was weird. That was awkward. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody else just kind of went away.
And now you're just in a relationship with freedom.
In a relationship with freedom. Oh, it's so amazing. So yeah, you have to draw lines where it makes you comfortable, and if you're with somebody, where that makes them comfortable as well.
Yes.
We kind of touched on it a little bit with the families, the family members in your business about your relationship. The ex that got engaged, let me tell you something. My family was distraught about that. And I'm like, listen, he been gone since like grade school. Literally, I was 18 years old.
Our family is like this. Let's just say that. And when people come into our family, like,
they don't leave.
They don't. Because like even on Facebook, like we're still friends with like our cousin's ex-husband. Like, and to
be fair, that was an ex-husband.
And they have a kid, which is our cousin. So, you know that, yeah. And then.
But we friended them well after that.
Yeah, like 3 years ago.
Like she was finishing her second marriage after that.
So, see, we don't have, but I think it's just the dynamics of our family, just how close we are, especially like, and we,
boundaries.
When people come into our family, like from the outside, it's like we just embrace them all.
Yeah, because
they may talk about you, you know, like, I hate that relationship, but come on over and get some food.
Get some food and be our friend on Facebook.
So we still have, you know, some boundary issues there. But yeah, we have a lot of like exes that are still somehow in the family.
All of us.
Forever.
All of our exes are still always like our cousins.
None of mine. Not a single one.
Not single one of yours, no. Maybe with her boundaries.
You got to go. You got to go. You got to get out my family.
That one I was just talking about was the only real one that my family adhered to.
I feel like that helps with your boundary, like to
keep them out of the family until they're in the family.
Well, not only that, because I mean, I've introduced people to the family, like the entire family, one person, but just, you know, like not having to, like, I don't want to have to see that person.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how people feel about us being friends with their exes, because I don't want y'all to be friends with my ex. I need them to go away. I don't want them to be still like, hey, Mo, well, I need to read your blog.
This
like,
particular ex that I kept talking about just now literally flew in from his part of the country and came down and was like, I'm in Miami and I want to drive up. I want to rent a car and drive up so I can come and hug your mom.
In the middle of a pandemic.
In the middle of a pandemic. So he came up here and he hugged my mom and we sat and chit-chatted, me, him, Nay, mom. And then we went out to dinner, me and him, and everything was copacetic. Everything was fine. I don't know if I used that word in the right context, but I mean, everything was everything. And then, you know, that was, you know, maybe that was February. And then he got engaged like Memorial Day. And I was like, whoa, you just came down here. I wonder, does she, okay. And I was like, that was kind of weird because like we went on a whole dinner and like no mention of
but you said the dinner was friendly. It wasn't like there was no boundaries crossed at that dinner.
Absolutely not. So, which makes it even weirder that he didn't mention that. Right?
He's not going to mention that to you.
Well, that's awkward. I was like, well, he was with my mom.
It would have been courteous if.
It's weird.
If there was.
Like, why do you feel like you need to exclude that information? Listen, and you were thinking about proposing the entire time. Care. Like, that's a big deal. Like,
yeah, he had the ring at that point.
I'm saying.
But, you know, whatever.
Anyway, it is what it is. It is what it is. It just was weird. But he's the only one that's been in my family. And then, boy, when I spread the news that he was engaged, people was distraught. And I was like,
I was okay.
I was fine too. Actually. It was just everybody else. And that's why, anyway. But ultimately, if they do something wrong, they mess up, whatever, family's not going to extend the same grace.
Right.
That you're going to. Yeah. It's like, oh, I've already been over that. And I'm like, I'm not over that.
Yeah.
I'm not over that. Don't bring him around.
And then what happens? It just keeps piling on because they never get over it. And it's just like
and then they
thing
keep
after
thing
up.
After
thing.
That's the real issue.
They do. But even in no relationship is perfect. Like some of the things that you don't need to, like oversharing things can lead to that buildup. And it's just like, he is literally like, I hate him.
Yeah.
For you.
You preach to the choir. I know.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, whatever the person is willing to take, that's up to them. But ultimately, it becomes a problem though when you kind of have to choose between them, because I've seen that too. Growing up with some issues in our family, and it's kind of one of those situations where one person doesn't know their role, and the other person knows their role, but is like, here are your options. Okay. And that's toxic.
Yeah.
Especially if, I don't know, I've seen it on both sides where it's like, I've just seen where it's the spouse is the issue. And I've seen where it's the family is the issue. And ultimately the person, the common denominator is put in the middle, and it's so unfair. It's like, oh my God, like how you gonna make me choose? How you gonna make me choose?
Yeah.
I don't know. Cause then it's like, oh, well, we live together, but now this person can't even come to my house.
Right.
But this is my family. It like, stop making stuff weird.
Yeah. And with that, people like, when the question was asked to us on the live, if, we impede on each other's relationships, it does kind of make you think like, okay, now I need to check myself on how I'm responding and how I'm acting towards her relationship. I could think whatever I want to think about whoever she dates. I already formed a judgment from the first day I heard about him. So really.
And then when I met him, it was a whole
sad to say, but you do. And then like whether it's good or bad. And then you just got to check yourself on how you're responding and how you're making that person feel. Like I wouldn't want her to feel like she's in a like bad situation or whatever, if that's where she wants to be.
Not only that, but I wouldn't want the other person to feel like they can't share things with me because I'm just that irate and I'm just that like wild and off the cuff that I'm just like, F that guy. Like, I mean, F that guy. But also, I'm here for you still. I mean, you ain't gonna stop till you get enough, and that's okay. Like, we've all been there. Whatever.
Yep.
Unless it's something like really serious, like physical or like something that where a line needs to be drawn.
Right. And you can't draw it. It's like, I'm gonna go ahead and draw this line for you.
I'm gonna draw this line.
This is over.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and assert myself into the situation because now it's my business. Anyway. But who do you choose ultimately? Like, if they put you in a weird position, it's like, okay, do I isolate myself with my spouse or my whoever and distance myself from my family? Or do I take the side of my family who I've known my whole life and then create turmoil in my household?
I mean, like in those situations, you just got to talk to everybody and be like, look, I'm not going to be in the middle of this. That's y'all problem.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do is I'll see you outside of my home.
Yeah.
Because I don't want that to mess up my marriage.
But also I need to see who's in the wrong here because that's who I'm going to distance myself
from. Well, I mean,
from.
I think the conversations need to be separate.
They do.
You need to stop with my family and you need to stop with my husband.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen separately. And I understand that we can't have house parties. So.
Well, see, yeah, because it's like, oh, well, now this is an issue. Now I have to go outside to see. You know what I mean? I can't invite you to certain things that I'm having at my house if, so-and-so gonna be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's awkward. It's like, who was in the wrong first of all?
It is a lot.
And that's who the first person I'm having that conversation with is. And be like, listen, here are your options. Anyway, so Nate, tell him about that show that you're watching with your sister.
He, Flatbush Misdemeanors, this show. I thought it was hilarious. I like that dry humor though. It reminded me of Atlanta, that show. It was on HBO, and it was a guy, he was kind of like a bum. And he was going out, and he was, he wasn't going anywhere. He was like sleeping on the couch. He had like nothing going for him. And he was dating this girl, or messing around with this girl. They weren't dating. But the girl ended up going out on a date with somebody else, and he saw them out because he was out with his sister who had a successful life. And he saw them out, and he was like, what you doing out? Like, you were supposed to hang out with me today. And she was like, I'm done watching Netflix and chilling with you. Like, I want to do something. And he's like, what? You don't like chilling with me? Like, what? And she's like, no, I do, but I deserve other things. Like, oh no, he told her, I thought you didn't need all that stuff. And she's like,
because she probably was one of those people that was like, I don't need you to take, I'm one of those people that's like, I don't need you to take me out all the time.
Right.
But like, can you?
But can you? Yeah, please do. Let's go somewhere. Let's do something.
At some point, we were going to have to do something.
Well, what she responded with was, do you need everything that you want? And he was like, touche. So anyway, he was talking to his sister about his failed outing and how he just was like, I can't believe she went out with somebody else and blah, blah, blah. And the sister was like, let's think about this. You have nothing going for yourself. Nothing. You're living with a friend. You have no money. You can't take anybody anywhere. And she wants to date you. You have to ask yourself, is she making good life choices? Is this somebody you would want to date? She does not make healthy life choices. I mean, and I was like, oh my God. And so I wonder if men really think like that though. Like, she's not making good life choices. She's dating me.
Absolutely not.
But they will ask you, like,
subconsciously. Like, yeah, because it shows through in the insecurities. Yeah. It's like, why does she like me? She must have somebody else.
Yeah, they don't think that she's making bad life choices.
They're not thinking cheating logically about it. In the meantime, we're not thinking we're making bad life choices. We're like, what?
We're not thinking that, but
so
we are making bad life
choices. So when that scene came up,
I had to rewind. I was like, Mo, watch this conversation.
I'm making bad life choices out here.
We out here with no boundaries, making bad life choices.
The show made me
makes
get my
total
life
sense,
real
though.
quick.
I mean, it makes total sense.
All I know is boundaries need to be with friends too. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. Any relationship that you have, needs to have clear-cut boundaries. Yeah. But I just recently figured that out with the friendships too, because I felt some sort of an obligation to remain friends with people who we've gone in different directions in life. But we've been friends for like 20 years. So I'd be like, oh, well, we've been friends for so long. I always say, once my circle die out, that's it. I ain't getting no more in the circle.
Yeah.
And so my circle is down like 3 people. And I ain't got no whole lot left. And that's okay.
But what I'm going to say about those 3 people is that there probably should have been a boundary set on your end that was not set.
Exactly.
Because they were stressing you out sometimes.
Exactly.
And then they ended up setting the boundary because they understood the assignment. It was like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. No, but I think, they ended up doing what was best for them. And yes. Mo was also trying to do what was best for them.
Right. So I have a tendency to put other people's well-being ahead of mine when I see that they are in a distressed position. What a blessing it is to not be on the other end of that.
Amen to that.
Because these problems that I have are not my own.
Right.
I'm so thankful for that. But I just don't know when to quit.
Right.
And I end up, because I'm an empath, I end up just completely consumed in their problem and trying to make sure that they're okay and constantly pouring into them. And they're not pouring into me. And I understand that at that time because I'm like, you don't have anything to pour me. So I'm going to have to find the contents of my cup somewhere else.
Right.
And then I can pour it into you, and then you'll be okay. Yeah. And then once they become okay, or even sometimes if they're not, they're just like, this doesn't work for me.
They're like, thanks for that. They don't realize it, but it's a thanks for that. Bye.
Yeah. I literally got a message from somebody I was friends with for many years, since like high school. And she was basically like, this isn't, I can't take people from my past where I'm going. I'm like, define people from your past, because
I'm still current.
you needed me. Literally, you needed me.
Yeah.
A few months ago. And now all of a sudden I'm the past. I'm like, oh.
The past to her was yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
My past meaning yesterday and beyond.
She woke up, today's a new day. I need to cut everybody off that ain't supposed to be here today in this moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's okay. But at the same time, the same with the one before that who drew her boundary. Mm-hmm. This friendship is no longer working for me, all because she was also a Trump supporter. See, this is what happened when you grow up in white neighborhoods. She's a Trump supporter, and she is the absolute antithesis of everything that I believe. And she wasn't always like that, so she's also a fraud. Yeah. She's a fraud, is what she is. But completely just like messaged me, this is no longer working for me, this, that, and the other. This is somebody I fed and clothed. My parents let her into our home when she was homeless, when her parents couldn't provide for her. Like,
listen, you were just born to be a blessing to some people, but
including short men
amount of time.
That's why I always say I don't work for build a man. I'm not trying to build no man. It's the same situation where it's like I give and I give, and then once I upgrade your life, mm-hmm. you be like, all right, thank you, goodbye.
Sometimes they'll even appreciate you for what you did for them, and then still.
And sometimes
thank
they won't.
you, I'm out.
And then sometimes they won't. And that hurts even
but
more.
I don't think, and sometimes they don't even realize, like, they don't realize that I upgraded you, but it's okay. Right.
It's like all this stuff that you had, you would have been eating at the garbage can as a child if I wasn't in your life. Are you serious? Unmerited gall?
Poor life decisions on your part.
Poor life decisions. Well, not necessarily, because that fraud was, never mind. She was
I'm talking about a man.
Oh, I was just about to say that
she
girl
was always
fraud. And one of my other childhood friends who's still cool, she was like, I told you to draw a line with that. When you were 15 years old and you should have drawn the line. She legit was like, 20 years ago, you should have drawn a line and you didn't. And now look at you. Anyway, chatting with, it's not funny. Chatting with,
I can see her saying that.
Yeah. It was actually kind of funny in the moment. Because I was like upside down smiley face, like, this is wild. What's happening? Anyway, I was chatting with a coworker of mine, and she's white savior, and she's just like, oh my God, but she was making sense in this conversation, in this moment. And she was just like, listen, because she was there when my latest cutoff was going through some things. And I was getting crazy messages during mm-hmm. work. And I was like, I need you to pray for this situation because I don't know what's going on. And she dropped everything and she prayed for me and she prayed for her. And she, so I revisited. I'm like, look at this message I just got. I'm sorry. You can't come with me no more. Bye. And she was like, well, you need to, first of all, of course, pray about your boundaries and about like your situation and what you allow. But she's like, as far as I'm concerned, I know where the point where it becomes no longer healthy for me. And I have no problem cutting everything off past that point because mm-hmm. you're not about to make me lose sleep. Yeah. And the problem is I lose sleep. I will lose sleep.
But it's because of that unclear boundary.
Because the boundary is not set. But even if I set the boundary, I would really have to work on that because I would feel so bad that the boundary is set that I would just be like, oh my God, I feel so like I abandoned this person or whatever the case is.
But you have to, part of that setting that boundary is understanding that you've done what you could do. Exactly. Like I told her the same thing when she, the other day just showed me a message about somebody that was like, I haven't been doing well and blah, blah, blah. I don't know why people confide in you with their problems, but
listen.
You just like your auntie. But people don't come to me and I'm a counselor. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, No, but I was telling her the same thing because I was like, what you need to do is let them know that there is no shame in getting help because you're not a therapist and you don't want him to unload all that mess on you. So what you need to do is just let them know it's okay to get help. If you feel like you need help, find something that you're interested in doing, and peace be with you.
Yeah. See, even in that moment, I was like, oh my God, what can I do?
Yeah.
Like, do you need anything? Like,
your brain needs to tell you, I can't do anything. I
literally can't do anything. I literally can't do anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I also, struggle with that too. Like, I do hold on to people's problems probably way more than I should because I hear problems all the time with kids.
Oh my God.
Which is even worse because they really can't help themselves. But, just being able to sleep at night, I think knowing that you did all you can do, like that's what helps me sleep at night. When I'm counseling these kids, I'm like, I did everything I could do.
Yeah, exhaust your options.
Like
everything that you can do that is within healthy limits for yourself. Yeah. Because there's other things that can still be done. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, this is just becoming stressful.
Yeah.
So you have to just basically know, when is this not healthy for me anymore?
Right.
Like, and then I'm going to help you to that point. But after that point, I'm going to wash my hands of this situation because you ain't got to ruin my junk over here. I'm over here thriving. I'm over here surviving. And then I got people calling me like, oh my gosh, this, that, and the other. And I'm like,
but you'll notice at the beginning when we talked about how now that boundaries are set with like certain people, you feel this freedom. Like you feel like you're not being weighed down with other people's problems and all of that stuff. Like you're not trying to like, it's just a feeling that you get, like whether it's just knowing that you did all you could or just not having to deal with that anymore. Like your friends cut you off. Yeah, that sucks. But now you don't have to stress about them.
I don't even mean just like cut me off. I mean like block me on all sorts, like I did something. And I'm like, wait, how?
The Lord did that.
Disrespectful.
The good Lord.
I mean, the Lord is good.
These people need to be X'd out your life.
Should have did it 15 years ago.
I mean, it does come with like a feeling of like
liberation.
Yeah, it's like a weight lifted off your shoulders.
Like, I will say that one of my friends that's still hanging on by a thread, she has a lot going on. And if I let it, it will be a lot for me also. Mm-hmm. And there was a point in time where I just physically did not have, go SoFloMo.me. I wrote all about that actually, where I came to a point where I was like, I don't have the emotional capacity for this anymore. So I didn't cut her off, but I ceased communication until I was in a space where I could have a conversation with her about not necessarily healthy boundaries, which probably still should happen, but I came to a space where I was like, this is why I haven't been talking to you.
Yeah.
Because I can't handle your ish and mine. And at the time I had stuff going on. My mama was sick in the hospital. I was between jobs. I was like having like so much going on, good and bad, that I was just like, I literally don't have the space for your ish right now. So just please take it away from me. Go. Yeah. And I released her. And now that I'm in a healthier space and now that I'm reevaluating my boundaries, I feel like we can have some sort of a relationship just within the limitations of where I'm at now. Mm-hmm. But it's been a wild ride. Speaking of work, boundaries in the workplace.
I have boundaries at work for sure.
I do too. And that's why I am afraid of getting in trouble, because I'm like, what you're not going to do is this.
Yeah.
I don't have as many boundaries with my time, because the last several jobs that I've worked have abused my time and like disrespected my time. And by disrespect, I just mean like, it's almost as if they think that I am their slave, and just because they pay me that I'm obligated to do things for them when I'm not supposed to be there. It's like, I don't care if you're compensating me. They try to lure me like, oh, there's some overtime, time and a half. You want this? Some holiday
and don't
pay.
Be on salary, because there ain't no overtime. You just doing it.
I'm just like, I don't want your money. I want my time. my time is more valuable than this little mess you paying me.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not coming in on my day off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no. But they have a tendency to be a little disrespectful if you let them keep pushing. Especially in the science field. My gosh. That's why I've been burnt out.
The jobs that you're in are like high demand jobs too. Yeah. It's like, I mean, essential, like really essential.
Like
maybe not so much the last one, but like before when you were testing Zika, now you're testing COVID. Like these are like, we need to get this stuff done.
Yeah.
So I can see like why they're doing it, but yeah, you have to set your own boundaries to.
Yeah. I'm like, then y'all need to hire staff for this.
Yeah. Because it's not your problem that you don't have enough people to do this.
It's not. And I don't want to be that person that's like, no, but I have to be because otherwise, like yesterday, randomly, I was supposed to be on call for a Saturday night. And I'm like, this isn't normal. Like, oh, well, X amount of samples are supposed to come in. We might need some extra hands. Okay, that's not my problem, though. If I feel like coming in, maybe I will.
Right.
But I'm not finna be made like to feel bad for setting boundaries. Like my Saturday nights are my own. That's why I got a job where I specifically said I don't want to work weekends because I was tired of working weekends. Like, stop trying to call me in just because you're going to give me a little chump change. Like, I don't want your change. I ain't hurting. Like.
Yeah, and you have to set your own boundaries at work because people at my job will come to me and they'll be like, oh, you're so lucky you said no because now they have me. Oh, I'm like, you should have said no.
You're so lucky you said no. You got a mouth?
And I'm feeling bad for them. Like, I help out where I can. And I actually go above and beyond at work all the time.
Right.
Like, but some things you just like, I'm like, I can't do that in this. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I have an issue with that also, where it's like, okay, y'all give me all the assignments because I'm trusted. Yeah. But in my famous words, I'm not an octopus.
Yeah.
I only got 2 hands and you need to tell me what to do with them.
And that's how you avoid the burnout at work. Is you do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And you go home. And
that my job is so like turnaround time. Like
that's how social work field was.
Yeah, like you have deadlines. Like you didn't get these results for these samples out within, a certain amount of time. Like I'm in constant motion at work. Because of the way that it's set up.
Yeah.
And it's just really, really aggravating. Even with my last job in pharmaceuticals, I was working alongside manufacturing. So I was at their mercy at all times. And I was like... Yeah,
you were leaving at like 4 a.m. to go to work.
Yeah. It's or they'll call me and be like, oh, we're getting ready to do this, that, and the other. You're supposed to be here. And I'm like, I'm in my bed. Nobody told me that they moved the time. Like, done. Even the way people are treating you also, because I have issues with that too, but that is a very clear boundary I set. I have no problem with that boundary specifically. But yeah, it's quite annoying as you go to work and I know I don't feel like going to work and fighting with people. I don't have time to fight with you.
No, like you want to like the place that you work at, and the people are what make you like it. Honestly,
yes.
It's not the actual job. It's not like you're like, oh, I just want to be pipetting all day.
I'm
like
so fulfilled.
You have to like the people that you work with.
Like,
yeah.
Anyway, so basically, we said all that to say this. Ask yourself, okay, bear with me. Who are the people that are constantly take?
Lying.
Who are those people? If you can sit and think like, because I just thought of like 4, and I'm like, these people are constantly like making withdrawals and no deposits. Mm-hmm. Like, who are the people that you're constantly going to for them to pour into you and for them to like make deposits into your life? And are these the same people? Because if they're not, then that relationship is
sketchy.
It's
you need to assess the situation.
It just needs to be thought out, because ultimately if they're not the same people, then y'all are not equally in any situation. And who do I have an equal relationship with? Mm-hmm. Like, who am I, giving and taking with equally? Because ultimately, those are probably people that you want to keep around.
Yeah.
Or maybe just reevaluate yourself and figure out, why are you also leeching off of people, if that's in fact what's happening. I'm just so thankful again that I don't have like issues like that. Because I'm sitting there like, am I a leech? And I'm like, I ain't got nothing. Who energy I need?
I honestly don't talk to enough people.
I love my energy. My energy is pristine.
Unless somebody gets in there.
Unless somebody
infiltrates that energy. Then
the energy that I naturally produce, I love that energy. I try to keep that energy. But when other people just infiltrate, it's terrible. Because then I'd be like, I don't even know who I am.
Right.
Do I have anything that's draining my energy? Because that is also
anyone.
Or anyone, yeah. Yeah, it could be a person, place, or a thing. It's like, is work draining my energy? Well, I need a boundary. I need a new job.
Yeah.
Like, what? And by energy, I mean also emotional, not just like, I'm just fatigued. It's like, no, like, is this job taking like a huge toll on me up here?
And then part of the, drawing the boundary, I think with us is because we are empathetic and we do care about how other people feel, or, it's harder for us to draw those boundaries because you're worried about how they feel. Whereas when they draw them with you, they don't care about your feelings, F your feelings.
Yeah.
So you need to have that same mentality. If it's something that is not good for your energy, not good for your aura,
this is energy,
then you go ahead and you draw that boundary, and they can deal with their emotions later, because just like you have to do.
And it's none of your business.
It's none of your business.
Whatever emotions they get from that is none of your business.
And you can do it in a positive way, like your friend did.
Yeah, hers was positive.
It's like, girl, bye. I can't talk to you no more.
Crazy. She's like, oh, I wish you nothing but the best.
That's a separate issue, because that still worries me, but whatever. Yeah. So just make sure that, don't worry about their feelings, basically, because they'll be all right.
They ain't worry about yours.
They'll be all right.
If the shoe was on the other foot, they would not be worried.
And if you have to create a boundary, then the boundary is necessary, and they'll be all right.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. How to, and figure out how to draw that boundary. Not necessarily how to draw it, but like, where is the limit? Figure that limit out. Because
right, it doesn't have to be a total cutoff, but it could be like, I can only deal with you in quarterly,
in whatever capacity. It's like, I know not to hang out with you. I'll call you once a quarter or one. Like, just figure that part out, and then figure out how you're going to deliver that, because it's never going to go over well. Yeah. And is there anything in my life not contributing to my personal growth and advancement? Because those also need boundaries, even if it's not something that's sucking the energy life force from you.
It could stunt you. It could stop you right in your tracks. Yep.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, this isn't serving me anymore. So why is it here? I do that all the time. I'll go through like a purge on like my Instagram or something. I'll be like, why? And just goodbye. Next thing I know, they be gone. Because people be doing that with me too. So. So yeah, just a tip. Let's leave you with a tip. Let's get the freak out of here.
I'm hungry.
I know, right? And we got to go to the beach
with kids.
So with the kids,
pray for us.
We the auntie cousin, and now we got to do things with the nieces and the nephews.
And we got to feed them. Sure. Anyway,
they need to eat. They done had all day to eat.
We can't eat at the beach, that's for sure.
We're not eating at the beach. So they better get some food now.
That's a total sidebar. We on just the tip.
Just a tip. Make them eat before they go to the beach in Florida, because them seagulls is ruthless and them seagulls is savage. And I ain't got time to be
fighting. Or they're going to be hungry till we leave.
No baby
That's
on my hip.
It is.
I'm not going to do that. No baby on my hip fighting fools. People or birds.
Ooh, I hate birds.
Or people who are birds. None of them. None of them. Anyway, just a tip. So, number one, respect yourself enough. Because boundaries are about self-respect.
It is.
Put some respect on your neck. Put some respect.
Make some good life choices.
Yeah, like this is getting embarrassing.
It is.
Respect yourself enough to set boundaries with people who drain your energy, leeches, people who you constantly pour into, don't get anything in return. I mean, don't pour into people with the intentions of them pouring into you at some point. But if you're noticing a one-sided relationship, it might at some point turn into some sort of toxicity. So just have some respect for yourself, please.
Yeah.
Draw a boundary with people who need boundaries, obviously. Don't draw in invisible ink, like we said earlier. But once they draw them,
yeah.
and they don't feel bad. And
they don't.
You need to have that same mentality and just keep that same energy. Even if it's somebody who hasn't drawn a boundary with you, like just think in your head, what would so-and-so do? Somebody who drew a boundary with you.
Yeah.
And execute just that.
Understanding that, like, people sometimes come in your life for reasons and seasons, right? So if you think about like all the people that you've met and you've been friends with, right? You're not friends with all those people anymore.
Yeah.
So, they serve their purpose and then they go away. And some people just are able to tell when it's time for them to go. Yeah. Like they just Homer Simpson back in the bushes and you still peeking with your head out. Like, well, where everybody at? No, you need to go in the bushes too. So
in a separate bush.
In a separate bush,
a different bush.
But just understanding that, like, I think that'll help you like cope with, losing a person that you thought was your friend or somebody that you thought would never be like setting that boundary with you. Just understanding that people are in your life for a reason, whether it be to help them glow up or grow up or whatever you're doing with them, help them with their mental health, whatever it is. And then they're done. They're done with you. And you need to be done with them.
Yeah, essentially. I had an ex who basically was like, I don't know why we were talking about anything relative to this. I don't know what we were talking. Probably the fact that there probably was a God thing that I should have just heeded. But I think we were talking along the lines of boundaries, which with him I knew none for a decade. And they're clear now though. But yeah, so he was just like, yeah, I mean, think about it. The mailman don't stick around once he, delivered the mail, the message sent, and then he dipped. And I was like,
that's how you got to look at it.
He is right. The message is sent. Whatever the message
Advice
is.
from an unwise ex.
Whatever the message is.
Yeah.
It was sent. I did my job. I got to go. Goodbye.
Yeah.
He don't stick around and be like, so what else you got? Like, no. He be gone. Yeah. So take that and put that in your back pocket, because I did.
Mm-hmm.
And now whenever I think about boundaries, I think about that. I'm like.
And a lot of your relationships are temporary, especially with being an adult. Because what happens is life happens.
Especially from childhood friendships.
Right.
Like childhood people that you had around you. And it's like you become an adult and then you're looking at each other like, we don't even have anything in common.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We were just in high school together.
We were just in high school at the same time. And maybe we had something in common then, but I'm a whole grown different person.
I will say that my friends from high school, I do have a few that I am really still rocking with, but
they went in similar paths, like similar mindset as you.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
All of mine were just like,
yeah, yours were a little wild. She was wild in high school with them too.
I wasn't wild. They just came from all different walks of life.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, again, reasons and seasons.
Yeah.
We'll help you deal with it because
I tend to have an obligation, feeling like obligated to remain friends with people I've been friends with for a long time. And it's really like, why though? Why? You don't need them. They don't need you.
Because of time, I think.
They need you sometimes, but you don't need them.
It's time to go.
This is always a problem. I'm going to take this off. I'm trying to pay homage.
Tuck it in. Tuck mine in.
So anyway, in the wise words of Oprah, you are responsible for the energy that you give, that you surround yourself with. Okay, you're responsible for any energy that you let into your life, and you are responsible for the energy that you emit.
Yes.
So some people ain't got accountability, and they just spew in their energy, whether it's good or bad, everywhere. And you have to have the discernment to be able to block Heisman, do all you got to do to protect your neck. and we're going to leave you on that one. So take some accountability. And
we're going to go to the beach with the kids.
Have some respect for yourself. Let's go do things that we don't feel like doing.
I know I want to go to the beach. I'm just worried about going with kids.
Well, yeah, that's the
who want a boogie board. Like, I don't know their swimming skills.
I know now.
Anyway,
yeah,
we out.
A little nerve-wracking.
Bye, y'all.
Auntie struggles. Bye.
Thanks for joining us.
Remember, feel free to slide in our DMs with topics or questions you'd like to chat about.
It goes down in that DM.
Hey.
It goes down in
hey.
that DM.
Hey.
It goes down. Sorry. Your support really means a lot to us.
See you next time.
Bye, y'all.